It's time to talk with Jay Foss.
Thanks so much for calling in. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you too, Jay Foss.
The magic happens when you have the right person in the right place at the right time.
If we're having fun, everyone else is going to have fun naturally.
Keep it local radio.
I'm obsessed with transformations on this show. And so I guess that in this case, you are that paradigm shift. You are the thing that transforms people. That's what people call me.
Want to connect with Jay? Dial in.
But then the question is everyone tuned into the right frequency?
Are you tuned in?
Making our corner of the world a little brighter.
Did you make the right decision here? Like, are you, did you bite off more than you can chew?
In figuring out what makes people tick whenever we start something new.
Yeah.
There's always that question of
raising your inner voice.
Wait, was this too much? Did I start hiking a mountain that's a little too high for my level of experience?
With Jay Foss.
It's a quote by Thoreau. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it.
Not just another talk show.
We cover all things that make us human.
It's time to be heard.
How can my values and how can these inner thoughts that I have help me be a more whole human being?
Online and on air.
We can't legislate being a good, decent human being. So what can we do? We can become more active in this community.
Raising your inner voice with Jay Foss.
Hey, party people. Welcome back to Raising Your Inner Voice. Hope that you're doing well this fine Sunday evening. And you know this program, this show. It's really about digging deep into what makes you tick. Why is it that you are experiencing this thing called life in the way that you are experiencing this thing called life? And how much say do we even have in that? How much credit can we take for the life that we are leading? It's a combination of things. And ultimately, this show is about how you are more than some of its parts. I'll break it down. Fear not. Don't worry. I know that I won't lose you. Usually you're 2 steps ahead of me. I'm the one catching up to you. But I appreciate you being here. So what am I talking about? You are the more than some of its parts. Well, it goes to the same sense of, I mean, really, it's almost any metaphor that you want to pick. Pick a metaphor and then come back to me with it. If you do want to join the conversation, you can shoot me a voice message, 617-843-5393. I have little goodies that I like to send people. So when you send me a voice message, make sure you send me your address as well. So that way I can send out a little goodie thank you note to you for participating on Raising Your Inner Voice and for doing the work of raising your inner voice. Really appreciate you being here and involved in this same sense. But yeah, I mean, right? It's pick your favorite song, pick your favorite movie, pick your favorite fill in the blank book. It doesn't have to even be just art. It could really be anything. But we fall in love with these examples because not just for the adventure that we go on with it, but we fall in love with these examples because they cumulatively have a bigger impact on us than just the moment, right? I was going to say momentous event, but that's it's more than just the moment, right? Of feeling heartbroken and then feeling happy by the end. Or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe it's going on some very ecstatic adventure, and then we feel drained and beaten by the end. So my whole point is that you, my dear listener, are the same thing. You are more than just what meets the eye. You are more than any particular moment in your life. Whether those moments be highs or lows, goods or bads, you can do more. You are more, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, what is the more? That's part of what this entire series of shows are about. And I don't just mean the more recent one since I've relaunched the program. From the get-go, it's like, what is this journey about? And the journey is about the journey. Your life is about your life, and you get to determine and say that. At the same time, there are other forces, right? We can't say that we are complete islands and that we aren't affected by our environment, our upbringing, right? This all plays a role into our likes, our dislikes, ways in which we express our lives. But thankfully, we are more than just instantaneous moments that add to our lives or detract from our lives. If we're being quite honest, it's not all. Everything isn't peachy keen. What am I, like 50 years ago? Why am I saying peachy keen? Because everything isn't all that and then some. It's a combination of things, and you are more than those combination of moments. You are more than your, right? I mean, you get the tie-in related to your being itself. Even that's a metaphor. You're more than your feelings. You're more than your thoughts. You're more than your soul. And the culmination of all of these things, that's who you are. And that's what I'm trying to get at. The funny thing is when it's like defining the undefinable, right? So it's as soon as we put a label on it, it seems like it skirts and morphs and changes into something else. You change into something else. It's like you're no longer just a kid. You're no longer just an adult. You're no longer just a parent yourself. You're no longer a grandparent. You aren't just a worker. You're not just a spouse. You're not just a single person. You're not just however it is that you're defining yourself right here and now. You are still more than that because of the future element, right? I mean, not that some people really get worried and are afraid of the future. I tend to view it as an adventure, the future itself. So it can be scary. Yeah, I don't disregard the scariness. Of course it can be scary. Anything worth doing can be scary. And that's part of the ride, right? If it weren't scary, then you wouldn't be alive. Life in and of itself is a scary thing, especially when you're putting yourself out there and being more vulnerable, like digging into what it is that makes you come alive. But I think it's still worth doing. I think it's still worth exploring. I think life ultimately is still worth living, right? That's what I'm getting at by the end of the day. For anyone just tuning in, this is Raising Your Inner Voice. On the program this evening, we're speaking about how you are more than the sum of your parts. You are more than how you define yourself in any given moment, including sad feelings, including depression, including all of it. So what do we do with this, right? I mean, it's not like you can live your life complete and grand and bigger than who you are. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to get at that. I think ultimately it's a reminder and a gentle caressing nudge to let you know that, hey, this too shall pass. I mean, to me, that's where the reassurance and hope is that whatever I was going to say it's good news, but I guess it's mainly good news for people who are suffering, that this too shall pass. For people who are living life and this might be the highlight of their life, of your life, I guess it's a dire warning that whatever it is that you're on the mountaintop about, this too will pass, right? We can't live on a mountaintop forever. We have to head back down the mountain, which in and of itself is usually a rigorous exercise. Again, this is all metaphorically speaking. Apparently, I love metaphors. Do you like metaphors? And what do you think about this metaphor? Would love to get your thoughts on that. Shoot me a message, jay.foss@me.com. That's the way to get in touch. That's the way to reach out. That's the way to remind yourself that you, in fact, are not alone in this life and that you are not just an island. And this is something that I think that we in the Western world and Western civilization tend to struggle with, because everything is so geared towards the individual that maybe struggle is not the right word. Do you notice I second guess the words that I use quite a bit here? I'm not gonna second guess this one. We struggle with this in the Western world because everything is so geared towards the individual, and how personal liberties and rights are something that we fight for. But of course, the opposite of any profound truth isn't actually a lie. It's a deeply opposite, but for profound truth. It's just the 180 of what we're getting at. And what I'm getting at in this instance is that community is just important as our individual freedoms. Communal freedoms are as important as our individual responsibilities. Communal responsibilities are as important as our individual responsibilities. And if we're neglecting one or the other for too long, then we need to swing that pendulum back to center. Because I think center is the ultimate goal. However, we can't live in center for long communally, right? Like, things that we value always seem to be taken to an extreme, too far. Too much of a good thing, baby. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And yeah, realizing that can be an extreme. I mean, what's the other quote? It's bear with me here. I want to say everything in moderation. Well, except for everything, right? So moderation in and of itself is a good thing, and that's how we avoid extremisms. But it's hard to acknowledge when our views are extreme, because we're so caught in the moment, so caught in our thought, so caught in our individual thinking, that we can't affect and we can't change our minds, and we can't acknowledge something if we're caught in the middle of it. It's like being overtaken by your feelings. If you're overtaken, you've already lost. You're already on that ride of emotion. The wave is carrying you. You're no longer in control. And I don't think that control of our lives is something that is even a desirable thing. Because we all want control, right? We all want to be in control and doing what we want to be doing. But life tends to slap you in the face at times, right? Or I won't put it on you. I'll speak for myself. Life for me slaps me in the face and gives me a wake-up call. Not in a bad sense. I mean, sometimes it's heartbreaking and devastating, and there are real consequences that we don't want to deal with. But it's also like a breath of fresh air. If you're not breathing good air and you finally get a breath of fresh air, it may not be what you want, but your lungs will thank you. It may not be what you're actually wanting in that moment, but it might be what's best for you. And not being in control it doesn't feel good, because we want to be the ones controlling everything in our lives. If we could control everything in our lives, I think we probably would try to. Right? I mean, people orchestrate so many fictitious examples in their life. And that's the example of fake it till you make it, which doesn't really work. Right? There's something artificial about it. There's something that isn't true. Now, what's the difference between fake it till you make it and something like people who use vision boards to actually get and be something that they currently are not in that place yet? What's the difference between living into and expressing yourself? Wearing a suit, right? If you want to be in a position where you're wearing a suit constantly, and you start off wearing a suit before you're in a position where you need to be wearing a suit, eventually you're going to get there. So what's the difference between faking it till you're making it and suiting up? That's a funny phrase. And suiting up. What? Well, for one thing, I think a lot of it has to do with authentically living from that calling and voice in your life. So if you are living from an authentic place, and that place has you doing certain things that may not be a reflection of your current reality, but is a reflection of your current essence, then you're not faking it till you make it. You're actually living more authentically. But you're still more than the sum of your parts, or parts of your sum, if you want to phrase it that way. I love having fun with words. Oh, my dear listener, we are in the trenches of this right here and now, digging into that inner space in your life where it's really, it's like the 7 p.m. hour for all of us. Right? Hopefully you have a nice cocktail in hand, or other way that you're enjoying this podcast. Lots of people do lots of things. I mean, living, it can be, the schedule is filling up, if you know what I'm talking about. So it's good to multitask and do what you need to do. But I appreciate you being here and not only checking out the conversation, but the feedback that you give is really pertinent, and I appreciate that. Appreciate the encouraging words. Appreciate you just being here and being in tuned in the conversation. Yeah, you are more than the sum of your parts. I like that, and that's what we're focusing on this evening on raising your inner voice. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a couple of moments. But don't worry, this show is more than the sum of its parts, too.
Stay with us as we continue raising your inner voice with Jay Foss.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber. If you're replacing the windows in your home, please see the Anderson 400 series windows on display at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or Plastown, New Hampshire. The Anderson 400 is attractive, durable, energy efficient, and reasonably priced. Remember, Anderson is the most trusted name in windows. See the Anderson 400 at any of our 3 locations. That's North Reading, Beverly, or Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Moynihan Lumber, we measure up.
If you have any issues, topics, or voices that you think would be great to be heard on this show, please reach out, jay.foss@me.com. If you want to add your voice to the conversation, record a voice memo and email it to me, or tune in live, Sunday evenings at 7 p.m.
How's your 401k? I'm Luke Noble of Noble Financial Group. As a certified financial planner, I know you can't plan for everything, but we can prepare you for life's twists and turns. We'll make a plan to help your money last through your retirement years. Our team is dedicated to helping you achieve your financial goals. Let us help. Visit noblefinancialgroupllc.com.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through MML Investor Services. Member SIPC. Noble Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of MML Investor Services.
Making our corner of the world a little brighter, online and on air. Raising your inner voice with Jay Foss.
And welcome back, party people. Hope that you are enjoying your time right now. We're digging into the weeds. We're really getting into it on this episode of Raising Your Inner Voice. Some episodes we chat with others and I interview people. And other episodes, I invite you to call in and tune in and listen. And then other episodes, I try to actually do what I am encouraging you to do in Raising Your Inner Voice. And I get into the weeds. I have hour-long conversations of really doing deep dives into topics that I think are pertinent and relevant to you. So this one is on how you are more than the sum of your parts. And really, what I'm getting at with this phrase of you are more than some of your parts is that everything is related. Everything is related. I mean that both in terms of human history and your individual life. And lots of ands here. And and you are more than the individual moments of your existence. And I can hear the rebuttal in the back, because there is a rebuttal, right? If the opposite of a profound truth is a deeply profound but opposite truth, it's that individual moments do matter. I'm not saying that individual moments don't matter. I'm not saying that you shouldn't celebrate when you are on cloud 9, when you're at the top of the mountain, when you're achieving success in the ways that you've defined it. I'm not saying you shouldn't celebrate those. And likewise, I'm not saying you shouldn't feel the pain and sadness when you're in a place of hurt. It's actually quite the opposite. It's that we want to embrace the present moment. We want to embrace, and we want. I'll finish one thought before I start on to another thought. We want to embrace what we're going through, and I think embracing what we're going through is how to actually acknowledge that we are more than the moment. It's in acknowledging that we are bigger than just what we're going through. And it's being present in that. I mean, right? You've heard the phrase, there is no time like the present. You've heard that time is an illusion, right? All we have is the here and now. So are we staying in tune with that? That's that inner voice, is are you paying attention to the present moment and how you're experiencing it, how you're living it? And if you're not, you know what? That's okay. I encourage you to be kind and gentle with yourself. And lots of ands. And don't forget to share that same grace with other people. It seems like we have inclinations, or I've noticed at least, that people tend to go one way or the other. And the real big heroes in life are people that acknowledge that society isn't going, we aren't valuing the opposite truth. And those people end up being standout people. And they stand out because they can see the bigger picture. They can see the fact that, individuals aren't being respected at the moment, or communities aren't being valued at the moment. And that's usually when we're in the equal but opposite time, communally, when we value something. It's not quite the same. I hope this is making sense to you. I'm on board with being in this rabbit hole, and I'm on board with what I'm gaining from sharing this with you. And that's where a lot of people are turning towards meditation and breath work and calming that monkey mind and really trying to be in this moment more, because we can get so caught up in other things. And it's not even necessarily external things. We can be so caught up in how we're feeling, how we're thinking, what we're doing, the task at hand, instead of actually appreciating that this is life. This is life. That seems so profound yet simple. whenever you're really going through it and hitting the edges of your life, if only I had a reminder at that point. Because it's easy to say in this moment, yeah, this is life. Of course it is, Jay. Tell me the obvious, why don't you? All right, I will. This is life. But we forget that this is life. So we need ways of remembering that, and remembering that you are more than some of your parts. You are more than just what you think you are. I mean, none of us knows the future. We can't predict everything that's going to happen to us, even though we do want to control everything that is going to happen to us. But we can't, right? I mean, some of it is out of our control. So let's not get upset or too bothered or affected by things that are out of our control. It's really delving into this inner space, and we can control the inner space. How you're living your life is something, well, it's funny because as soon as I say that, you know how earlier I was saying like things morph and change? As soon as I say something like you can control your inner life, I instantly have 3 more thoughts that pop up that say, but Jay, you can't control, if you can't control how you were formed, and you can't control, right, your foundation of a person, then a lot of times you are operating off of those foundational impulses and the ways in which we were programmed. So if we're operating out of the ways in which we were programmed, do you in fact have control over it? Or are you just following, are you like a big hunky computer? You beautiful computer, you. Are you like a computer that you're just operating off of the way that you were programmed? In which case, do you really have control over your inner life? Are you really able to step away from the craziness of the world and live your life under any circumstance living autonomously. And I think I'm bringing this to an extreme to make the point. That's actually the interesting thing about extremes, is extremes, we tend to want to avoid them and want to go towards the center. But I would say our greatest lessons are at the extremes. Tough lessons or good lessons, doesn't matter. And I think that's true both individually and communally for us, right? Like when we wake up and realize that we have been honoring and valuing communities over the individual, we realize that that is an extreme that isn't good. When we wake up and realize that our individual freedoms have been valued over communal resources, then that isn't a good extreme either. So we're playing this weird balancing act and juggling act internally as well as externally. And really, I mean, in talking about this, we're talking about the inner voice and outer voice. When I state that, that is when I think that there's an upper voice. It's bringing in this third element that seems to be a better element because it's not picking sides of inner or outer. It's morphing both together. And this is why you are worth more than the sum of your parts. That's the upper voice. Can we acknowledge that? Does it sit well with us? Maybe you need to push back more to me and say, Jay, this is not quite. You're onto something, but I think you're going down the wrong trail here. And that might be the case. But you know what? It's fun to go down different trails. Some of them lead places. Some of them lead nowhere. But here's a good insight for you. We get to choose what we define as fun. So even heartbreak could be fun if you end up on the other side of it. Because while you're wallowing, I know people who have had some hard life circumstances, right? And they don't get past it. There is no getting over true heartbreak. They're wonderful people. I mean, just truly gems of humanity. And they don't see that themselves. I mean, how is that possible? How can you not acknowledge and not see how good you are when you're in the midst of feeling like you're not? And what changes that? Because usually outside perspectives don't relieve the way you're feeling internally, right? Yeah, I mean, you may get distracted for a little while. You may get taken away from your pain, but the pain is still there on the other side. So how can that change? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I haven't figured that part out yet. In other words, I'm still alive. The funny thing about this show is I think that there is an inner knowing and an inner intuition, right? That we all have. And we don't have the answers on the surface of things. So being able to take this time together and delving into these topics together, it can be fun. It can be heartbreaking. It can be both. But we get to define fun. And my definition of fun is living itself. That's why I say that even heartbreak can be fun, is because I'm not talking about like it's the equivalent of going out for a nice dinner or something, right? I'm saying it can be fun. Maybe a better word than fun would be it can be interesting. Interesting. It's capturing your interest, your attention, your lifespan. It's capturing something. Life is capturing your days and your time, because that's what we got. For anyone just tuning in, this is Raising Your Inner Voice. We are so far down the wormhole on this one. We're talking about how your life is more than the sum of its parts. You are more than what you think you are. In acknowledging that, I mean, it's almost, it seems like such a big concept that it's like, where do we go from here? I mean, how do we talk about this more? How do we explain this more? How do we have more fun with this? How do we keep it interesting and relevant to the inner world? And I don't know that we always have to, right? I've said this before that for adults, it's about raising the inner voice. For kids, it's about raising the outer voice. And for elders, it's about raising the upper voice. I think for all of us, the ultimate goal of life is to find out your passion and purpose. And that is your upper voice. But the only way of getting to your upper voice is by first going into your inner voice. And before that, it's expressing your outer voice. So we can't get to the third stage. It's like a video game. You can't get to certain levels until you pass other levels first, which even that is a concept of a more traditional storyboard video game. Now video games are much more immersive, and they're kind of like life itself. It's you have autonomy to do what you want. You have freedom to do what you want. You have the capability to make the video game do what you want. And it's really more about passing time, and it's less about completing objectives and then proceeding on to the next one, right? Just an observation. I'm not a huge video game person, so I don't even know why I'm going down this current metaphor. But that is, I mean, life evolves, life changes, life adapts. We adapt, and our lives adapt. Thank goodness. It would get so boring, which is the opposite of interesting, as if you didn't know that. You would get so boring and become bored yourself with your own existence if you didn't deal with stress and anxiety and other things that seem like they're deteriorating your life. That we need to be grateful for the ways in which life keeps us interested and on our toes. I mean, sometimes that's even through the death of loved ones. Sometimes that's us having near-death experiences. It's different for each of us, the way in which life unfolds. However, life is unfolding for all of us. And the fact that we get to do this together, usually that's phrased in a good way, but there's also a negative aspect to that, in that we can go too far collectively with what it is that we're valuing and cause serious damage to other people. And that goes back to the heartbreak from earlier, right? Because I don't, the phrase intentions are the pathway to hell. I don't think any of us necessarily intend to hurt other people. I mean, the irony, the irony of the way I end the show is that I don't think that any of us intend to hurt other people. I don't even think any of us intend to hurt ourselves. But yet we do. But yet we do. So hopefully we're learning our lessons. Hopefully I'm paying attention to my own life enough to understand and get the lesson that life is teaching me. Are you? And if you aren't, but you know that you're not, you're already ahead of the game, right? If you know that you're not learning what you need to be learning in life, that acknowledgement means that you're learning that. So you're in tune. You are paying attention. And if you know that you're not learning anything from life, oh my goodness. That is a hilarious thought. That's good. It is ironic, and yeah, I really do think that if you're if you're acknowledging that you are not learning anything, then that in and of itself is learning something. Oh my goodness, I love paradoxes and just the irony of life is really enjoyable to me. But if you are more than the sum of your parts, right? If you are more than what you think you are, then you probably don't even need the encouragement of this show. However, those who need the encouragement usually aren't believing what I'm saying. So, in encouraging you in this regard, I'm saying it's a waste. Because the people that need the encouragement are the people who don't believe something, right? So if you're not believing something, you need the encouragement. But I'm saying that it's something that only you can have within yourself. That's that inner space. And externally, I don't think that you can get the motivation, right? Motivation is something that has to come from within. So if you can't get the motivation from within yourself, then listening to me is not going to do it for you. In other words, I'm saying the ways in which life makes sense is nonsensical. The ways in which life makes sense is nonsensical. If, in fact, you need more inner gusto, how do you get it if you don't have it? But that's what you need in order to carry on. And I don't think it makes people weak. Well, it literally makes people weak, but I don't think it makes people less than anything, because we all have self-doubt. We all have issues that we're dealing with. We were all formed incorrectly, but yet I'm learning that we are all loved, that we are all individually made and created and chosen to be who you are, to be the way that you are, to be yourself. And the people who accept themselves, accept it and move on. The people who don't accept themselves and who question and second guess and turn to other either self-harming ways or harming ways to other people, it's almost not their fault, but yet they get the choice to do it. It's kind of like this whole predestination versus free will conversation. I remember I had buddies in college that would argue about this whole predestination versus free will issue. And i.e., the real question here is, are you affecting life or is life affecting you? And my answer to it was the non-dual way of saying you're both wrong. It's not either or, it's a both and situation. So the person who thinks that it's predestination is choosing to think that, and the person who thinks that it's free will was predestined to believe that it's free will. Right? It's the whole flip of what you actually think it is in that particular scenario. But that's why I think that you are more than the sum of your parts. That's why I think that you are a whole lot more than just what you think you are or how you say that you are. And that it feels like a reassuring message to me. I'm comforted by that. I hope you are too. And I hope that you're having an interesting time checking out this episode of Raising Your Inner Voice. We'll be back right after this. You are more than the sum of your parts on Raising Your Inner Voice with Jay Foss.
Want to connect with Jay? Dial in as we continue Raising Your Inner Voice.
Are you worried about the stock market, your 401k, or rising costs? Hi, I'm Luke Noble of Noble Financial Group. As a certified financial planner, I know you can't plan for everything, but our dedicated team of professionals can better prepare you so your money lasts as long as you do. Let us help. Visit NobleFinancialGroupLLC.com.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through MML Investor Services. Member SIPC. Noble Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of MML Investor Services.
Hi folks, Paul from Gentilly Brewing. Have you been to our tap room in Beverly, Massachusetts yet? No? What? Oh, come on. All of our beer is gluten reduced and we make our own hard seltzer cocktails and shandies. And we are dog and family friendly. Always. Our tap room is more than just beer. Pack up the kids and the dogs and come to 59 Park Street and see it for yourself. Or leave them at home. You'll be back. For upcoming events, hours, and to see our current beer list, visit GentillyBrewing.com. That's GENTILE brewing.com to plan your visit.
What does living a better life mean?
And what's your process in figuring that out? If you want to join in the conversation live, tune in Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you want to gather your thoughts first, record a voice memo and email it to jay.foss@me.com, because I would love to have your voice in this conversation. If you think someone else might need a conversation like this one, then let them know to get involved.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber. Professional builders choose Andersen Windows because they are the #1 trusted and recommended window and door brand in the United States. Andersen Windows and patio doors offer beautiful natural wood interiors, low maintenance exteriors, and outstanding energy efficiency. See the complete line of Andersen Windows on display at Moynihan Lumber in Beverly, North Reading, and Plastown, New Hampshire, or visit us at MoynihanLumber.com.
Moynihan Lumber, we measure up.
Not just another talk show. It's time to be heard. Online and on air. Raising Your Inner Voice with Jay Foss.
We are back on Raising Your Inner Voice. And we are in quite the deep conversation at the moment. It's an ironic conversation. It's a paradoxical conversation. It's a conversation that really makes no sense, which is why this episode makes sense. We're speaking on how you are more than the sum of your parts on Raising Your Inner Voice, and it affects lots of things. Life is relational in that everything in your life is related to other things in your life. And because we can keep track of that, you are more than the sum of your parts. I think that I've explained this thoroughly. So what does this mean for you? It means that you shouldn't get too bogged down or carried away when you're living in the moment. Because the moment is what we have. There is no tomorrow. There is no yesterday. The way that we find the present is always today. And that seems to be a gift that each of us can appreciate, right? We'd love to get your thoughts on this conversation. Shoot me a voice memo, 617-843-5393. Would love to feature you on the show. If in case you are either too shy or just tied up on Sunday evenings when the show is live, you can still participate. You can still be involved. You can still tell me that I'm a little crazy. I don't mind. Though the feedback that I've gotten is that either that I'm not that crazy or that my friends are just as crazy as I am. And it's nice to have this kind of community to be able to share these thoughts with, and to be able to share this space with. Speaking of going down rabbit holes, I haven't really promoted this, but something I wanted to let you know about is that I do put in the show notes a couple of songs that you're welcome to check out. Not usually, they always relate somehow to the topic at hand for the evening. So if you want to check those out, feel free to go to the show notes for Raising Your Inner Voice on whatever podcast platform that you're checking this out on. And yeah, check out the music that I've included for you. It's a way of taking the show and going even deeper down a rabbit hole with me. If you feel so inclined. All right, my friend, please be kind and gentle with yourself and share that same grace with others. Cheers.
If you're enjoying this podcast, please help spread the word about Raising Your Inner Voice. Join the conversation live. Email jay.foss@me.com to suggest ideas to explore. Also share this podcast with your friends. Let those who need conversations like this have a chance to check it out.
Then let them know to get involved.